Here.
Commissioner Mendola. Commissioner Fawson.
Here.
Commissioner Sawaya. Commissioner Stockbridge.
Here.
Commissioner Davis.
Well, he just hung up.
Who was that for?
He's still on the line. Commissioner Davis, can you hear us?
Yes,
Thank you.
Davis is here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, I'd like to call, shall we call to order now?
That's correct.
I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Economic Development Advisory Commission for the City of Kingman. It is 12, well, I lost it, 12:07 on November 23rd, 2021. So first item is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Number one, the approval of the minutes for, so who do we have? We have Ren, Sharon, me, and Jason, correct?
Correct.
All right. Okay, approval of minutes of our regular meeting minutes for September 28th. Any questions, discussion? That must be a no. Item 2, consideration of public comments. Those wishing to address the Economic Development Advisory Commission need not request permission in advance. Action taken as a result of public comments will be limited to directing staff to study the matter or rescheduling the matter for consideration and decision at a later time.
We have no public comments, and please ask for approval of the minutes for September 28th.
I can't do it because I read it. So somebody else needs to do it.
I motion to approve the minutes from September's meeting, September 28th, 2021.
So approved. Moving to item 3, reports. Tourism report by Josh Noble. I can't hear him. I can't hear anything.
We can't hear you, Josh.
Hi, Nikki.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I'll just give an update on our events to start with. We worked with Beale Street Theater to host the Haunted Powerhouse Ghost Walk here. It was part of a fundraiser for the construction or the renovation of the theater. We haven't had a wrap-up meeting on that, so I hope to have that at a future meeting. The Route 66 Street Drags and the Kingman 66 Fest both seem to have a positive impact. I don't have numbers to share right now, but we'll be working on those, looking at both the Placer AI mobile data and the hotel occupancy and revenue per available room. Both of those had spikes, or there were spikes during both of those events. So I'll have that at a future meeting. It's something we're going to be working on a press release to share that with the community and let them know what those look like. Some of the projects that we're working on right now, we're working on our 2022 Kingman brochure and the Dex Dining Guide. We're also ramping up for another Google My Business audit. We're also going to include in that a Yelp and TripAdvisor audit. This is part of the Arizona Office of Tourism's Rural Marketing Cooperative. We did this last in early 2020, late 2019. And it was part of what we were doing to assess the what businesses profiles look like online, because that has an impact on Kingman's overall profile. But that was up to 200 businesses, and this time we've increased up to 500 businesses. So it won't just be the tourism sector. We're also looking at possible retail hospitality training program with Local First Arizona. I don't have any details. We haven't had a first meeting on it, but it is something they reached out to us, and I think it'll be a good benefit for Kingman. Another thing that I'm looking at is possible Air DNA subscription, putting that into next year's budget. This gives occupancy and rate information on the Airbnbs and Vrbo that are rented in Kingman. So we currently subscribe to that data for the hotels, but we don't have any information on what's going on with our Airbnb model units. So this would be pretty beneficial information. It is a little bit pricey, but I'll keep this commission apprised on what we find with that. At the visitor center, the electric vehicle charger was down for a little while. It's been replaced and it is getting regular use by travelers. We are seeing a pretty good increase to our traffic. Year over year in October, we had an 86% increase in traffic. That was for the quarter, July through September. So it was 16,700 visitors we had come through versus just shy of 9,000 last year. Of course, that's still nothing compared to what we had in 2019. We had almost 84,000 people come in to the visitor center. For October, we did see a 27% increase year over year. So we had 6,300 people come in versus just shy of 5,000. Of course, it's still nowhere near the 28,000 that we had in 2019. Now, with the international travelers having easier access to come to the States, we do anticipate to see that continue to go back up. Our bus and group tour traffic also has seen a pretty good increase. So for Q3, which is July, August, September, we had a 365% increase. There were 124 bus groups that came here versus just 32 in 2020. That is still shy of the 912 that we saw for the quarter in 2019. In October, also, we saw a 200% increase. There were 45 buses that stopped in October versus 15 that stopped in October of last year. Our occupancy is pretty strong. It's at 73%. That is a 3% decrease from last year, although last year we were hosting a lot of softball tournaments and Little League tournaments. So we had an artificially high occupancy at this time last year. And the revenue per available room, though, is showing a pretty good solid increase. So our room rates are going up. It was in October, $63.95 was the average revenue per available room, which is 14% year over year over what we had last year. With that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Josh. Any questions or discussion for Josh? Okay, thank you, Josh.
Thanks, Sherman.
Appreciate you. We move on. B, retail report from Sylvia.
Good afternoon. I was kind of waiting for the train to finish going by. We're good now. Thought I'd be a little festive, even though we're not quite at Christmas yet. Put some lights up real quick. But it's good to see everybody. Really, I'm just continuing to work with our retail recruitment company, Retail Attractions, and Ricky Hayes on their bringing in more retail. You know, I do know what everybody wants, so we keep aiming for those businesses, and it does take time. So hopefully we can let you know some coming up soon. Continue to work with the Facade Improvement Program. There's at least 12 to 15 businesses that have contacted me, and I've provided them with information so they can participate. I say there's about 3 in the queue that actually submitted, so we're still working on getting more of them submitted, but there's a lot of nice renditions coming in of things that people want to do to their businesses. Signs seems to be the most popular out of everything when they're trying to improve a facade. So we're game with that, and we'll start seeing a lot more updated signs. We did expand our facade improvement program to include pole signs out in front of the existing businesses, because we do have a lot in town that either the signs are old or there's no sign on them, and can use some updating. So that is a part of the program. This program is citywide, so I'd like to remind people that, so that small businesses throughout the city can apply. So please do give me a call. I also like to say that we're working with the Kingman Chamber with this program, which has been a great combination, because with the facade improvement program, it's a 90-10 match from the city, and then the chamber has a 10% match up to $1,000 that really helps these businesses get a sign up, you know, so about $10,000 worth of grant to help them get these signs replaced. So that has been good. Plus, I think a courtesy membership, right, to the chamber, Becky. So next program we're working on is the murals, fine tuning that a bit. You'll see that coming out in the next couple of months. Just got a few little tweaks to make on it, and then I could tell you more about it. Also working on the retail prospectus for the city of Kingman, so we can have a little prospectus to hand out to those retailers we're recruiting, trying to get here. Larger commercial projects, we're always looking, you know, to infill those commercial plazas and the commercial property around town. So those are being worked on, but got to continue to work on them. And that's pretty much what I have for today. If you have any questions.
I'm glad you're well.
Thank you so much. Me too. Me too. I'm glad to be in this part. 6 weeks later is almost. So thank you.
I was wondering, out of the retail clients that you speak to, how many talk about housing? Housing
when they're looking to come to Kingman. Honestly, housing is definitely important, but I typically hear the workforce. But yeah, both of them are very important for sure. I generally do hear more of the workforce.
Yeah, workforce housing. Yeah. So do they, when the site planner comes, do they mention that? Do they say, how's your housing? I mean, if we bring in 20 workers, are they going to have 20 houses? Does that ever happen?
You know, when I'm talking to them, not directly, typically when I'm talking to them, it's more specific to the location. And so we're probably more focused on the access to the site and the utilities.
Sites.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's, you know, that's usually where I'm talking to them, but it's definitely an important aspect of attracting retail.
Okay, you know? Just wondering.
Yeah, no problem.
Anybody else? Questions? All right. Thank you, Sylvia.
Sylvia,
Thank you.
Sorry, I have a question. Where is the facade program being promoted?
I'm sorry, who's speaking?
Commissioner Stockbridge.
Hi. Good afternoon. So it's we have it on our Facebook page. Many times we'll post it. We do have it on the economic development website and the small business incentive programs. I believe we've had it in the paper a couple times as well. And then the Kingman Chamber, I know because we have a combination. We both are promoting it to all the members, and then site visits, just going out to sites that may not be using those channels to let them know that it's out there.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's the only thing I've found is that occasionally when I meet businesses, they are confused thinking it's a downtown only program.
Right,
The downtown
right.
businesses are the only ones able to participate. So just trying to, when I run across them, find the channels that they can find the information. So, thank you.
Yeah, and we also worked with Mojave County recently to put it in their newsletter to help expand and that is the emphasis. We keep trying to say it's citywide, right? And we did get a few responses from being in their newsletter as well.
Excellent, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sylvia.
You're welcome.
You're appreciated.
Thanks.
Moving on, number C, industrial park report.
Test. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right. Good afternoon, commissioners. Just want to go through an industrial park update for you this afternoon. So talk about rail. Our rail in regards to total cars that were stored within the park increased in the month of October to 181 cars. As a comparison, we were at 133 cars in September, 137 cars in August. So we had a slight uptick in cars being stored. In regards to cars that were being brought into the various businesses that we have in the industrial park, it went down slightly. We were at 131 cars that came into the park to be used, bringing product into those businesses. The previous month it was at 142, and the prior month in August was 157. But when you looked at those months in previous years, they tracked relatively close to what we saw in October of 2020. We did have a project that we finalized a lease on some land out in the park. A company by the name of Consolidated Industries LLC. We had a small parcel, about 0.45 acres, that was adjacent to a facility that they are renting. The facility is just a privately owned facility at 4225 East Finance Way. So that property was adjacent to a small portion of land that we owned, and they needed this extra area for storage of storage space. They build and construct storage sheds of various sizes, and they will store them there prior to being shipped out. We are also currently working in discussions with Project Titan. The company is looking to lease some land that the city owns out in the industrial park. So we're still in negotiations and discussions on that. Staff continues to work with the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad in regards to putting our properties that we have on their certified sites program. It's quite an extensive process to get sites listed into their program, and so we're going to continue working on that. We anticipate within the next month to have the majority of that information filled out, completed, resubmitted back into them. And what this does is it's just another tool to market property that the city has. If the BNSF has any clients that are interested, the property that we have at the city will be listed on their website, and they'll be able to reach out and contact us if they have anyone with any questions or interest in regards to our land. We also, one of the things that I did last month is I provided a tour to the Board of Supervisor for District 1, Travis Lincolnfelter. We went around the park and talked with him about the various businesses that we've had come into the park over the last year. And so he's very supportive of the park in regards to growing our existing park as well as the future park coming down the road with the potential for an 1,800-acre land release through the FAA. Staff is currently working with the Mojave County Economic Development Department staff in regards to a business retention and expansion survey. We are right now in the process of putting that information together to go out to our businesses at the park on the airfield side as well as on the industrial park side and survey them in regards to just a multitude of items that might come up. And so when that report is completed, we will go ahead and present that to the commission. So in regards to some current land sales that we've been working on, we did complete a 30-acre land sale, which it appraised for and sold for $1,975,000. The company ended up purchasing that. They're going to build a 200,000 square foot plus distribution center. So they're going through actually they're breaking ground on that already, and it is being developed. We are also working on another additional land sale. The appraisal has been completed on this project. There are some items that we're working through. There's some cleanup on this property that will have to be done or negotiated prior to closing, and there's some due diligence timeframes. So we're going to continue to work through that process on that land sale. And just one more little update is staff attended the Arizona Association for Economic Developers annual fall forum in Flagstaff, Arizona, the last week of October. The event provided an opportunity for the first time in a while for us to network with other Arizona Association for Economic Development professionals, and it was probably been over 2 years since the last time we were able to be in attendance in that. So it was a very well-attended event, and it was good to get out and meet with these folks, talk about the different projects that are going on in the state, and use that in regards to other projects that we're working on. So with that is my completion of my update for the industrial park. If there are any questions.
I don't have any. Anyone else? Wait, am I on mute? Okay, I'm not. Anybody else? Questions? Okay. Thank you, Bennett.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Now I move to the airport.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Airport update. We've had, regarding the land lease, 205,000 square feet. We're currently speaking to Jet Yard, going over some of the permits required by the county and the city, and moving forward with that on the design, and plus sewing up all the final things that we need to do to get this moving for the final lease and for them to begin construction. Just give you a little bit of idea on this facility. It will be an aircraft storage and maintenance facility just based right next to the FBO. It is going to allow them to better service the customers or their customers here at Kingman, and hopefully increase the amount of aircraft storage located here at the airport. Also, we are currently moving forward on the draw site. That is the ramp and apron area on the southern end of the airport proper, the airfield. That was aluminum draw site. We are currently we just wrapped up the actual environmental remediation comment section, and we received no comments on that. So we're going to start pushing forward and getting that process moved as soon as possible. Also written into the contract we have in there that any damage done to the physical road structures going in and out of the industrial park when we actually do this remediation will be replaced or repaired. So our tenants within the industrial park will not have to worry with dealing with damaged roads in the future. Land release, we've received FAA comments from the preliminary draft. We're currently working with Kaufman and the FAA to address those last little comments that the FAA has brought forward. We're working on that as quickly as we possibly can to get that moving forward, and where we could release the 1,800 acres. For special events at the airport, the Aviation Heritage Center of Kingman, they have invited out on December 6th a Major Farron. He is a B-17 pilot of World War II. He completed all 25 of his missions. He will be coming to Kingman for his 100th birthday, and they have also sponsored a B-17 to come out here to take Mr. Farron, Major Farron, and his family up for his 100th birthday. From about 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., they are looking at allowing ground tours for the actual B-17 aircraft, $10 per person, $20 per family. It will be free to children under 5, disabled vets, and World War II, active military and World War II veterans. For the actual airport industrial park revenues, as of October 31st of this year, we've received revenues of $469,153. Total expenses are $225,866. So far this year, as of October 31st, we have received 69,102 gallons of fuel cells. We have seen an uptick in September and October. Those upticks are really encouraged by three things. One is that the airport has been having aerobatic flight schools fly over the airport, so that's been an increase. Benefit to these aerobatic flight schools is that we have individuals coming in from out of state that are coming here and not staying for one day, but one of these flight schools, about 12 pilots came from out of town. They stayed for a grand total of 4 days. So these are lengthy stays at our local hotels and purchasing from the community. We have also had an increase due to our FBO has been pretty much really increasing their customer service. So people have been enjoying stopping by our fixed base operator, Arizona. Want to give them compliments. And then also in October, we have there's an NBAA, National Business Aviation Association meeting in Las Vegas. And when it comes to those, they mostly focus on business or aircraft. And a lot of times what you'll have is companies will go there, test flight some of their aircraft or fly their aircraft to determine which way they want to go when it comes to purchasing these aircraft. And they'll come to Kingman, fuel up, do a few touch and goes for their actual future tenants or people that wish to purchase their aircraft. So all those have allowed us an increase in fuel cells by $2,000 to $3,000 increase for the month of September and October. But does anybody have any questions for the airport?
I do not.
Deborah, if I could have Doug just expound a little bit on the dross. This is 13 years in the making, and they've been working with the Department of Justice, but the culmination of this is a really big deal.
I'm aware. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're gonna expound on the
Okay,
drop.
sorry. I apologize. I couldn't really hear Gary that much.
Okay. No problem.
We're looking at the actual amount of apron that has been tied up to this draw site. Give you a little bit of idea, this aluminum dross that is underneath the portion of the apron on the southern ramp of the airfield. Whenever it gets wet, that dross heats up, expands, releases ammonia gas smell, and will actually lift up and upheave the pavement.
Mm-hmm.
This prevents us from all but completely using that section of the apron. By allowing us to go back, remove the dross, put an additional 4 inches of asphalt in that area will not only allow aircraft, your standard general aviation aircraft, but also larger aircraft to use that ramp. And that will increase our parking, allow larger aircraft to use that section, and possibly allow businesses to develop or further develop the southern end of the airfield.
Wow. I know I've been out there, I've seen it. I think Bennett was the one that drove me around and showed me the entire situation. So Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Doug? Nothing? Thank you, Doug. We
Welcome.
appreciate you. On to new business. The election of a vice chair.
Chairman
I
Sixto,
lost everybody.
we're still. You can't see us?
Now I can.
Okay. Chairman Sixto, what I would recommend on this one is that we table it until January. You and I had corresponded that the city clerk advised us that we should be consistent with the timing, and so that you come right up for election in January, and we could also at the same time fill the vice chair spot, so people could, at least be thinking about it. So if that's what that's what I would recommend today.
That sounds good. I did do some investigation on the 1 year thing for each position that's being held, and sometimes it's longer because it's an election, but it's all good. So yeah, we can table that, no problem.
That way we can go do them both at the same time. So.
I concur with that.
Thank you. Is that Ren? Was that Ren or Jason?
Rennie.
Yes, it's Rennie.
Okay, thank you. I'm just having a really hard time with the picture. So item B, I would like, I'll just say straight up that I would like to get back into Zoom meetings. And then today I am not in chambers. And the reason for that is I missed a step on my stairs. And now I have a meniscus and a cruciate and a ACL ligaments injury in my knee, and walking anywhere is just really difficult. So that's the reason I'm not there in the chamber. But I was wondering how many of our commissioners would like to go back to meeting in the chambers?
I prefer in person than Zoom. Personally.
I do
This is
too.
Commissioner Stockbridge.
How come it doesn't?
Rennie? Jason? Nikki, I saw you. You're somewhere.
Get
How
it?
about,
Yes. Now talk.
Okay. I prefer in person.
okay, that's Rennie and Sharon. How about you, Nikki?
For me, actually, Zoom works better with my current position. That I
Okay.
can set up a camera in the back room and take a briefer
Okay.
break away.
We can have a few, but if we all, just, it's so much better in person because
yeah.
then you can put people, just if we could do that sometimes, that would be awesome. But of course, we'd respect that you would have to do the Zoom. Jason as well. Jason, are you there? Sounds like he's trying to be there. I guess the Skywalk is super busy now, so he's super busy. And then Rennie, Sharon, Nikki, and then Mary, are you there? No.
I'm here. Ms. Chairwoman,
Mary?
can you hear me?
Jason? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like in-person meetings? Would you like to do that? You haven't even done one in person because of COVID and everything, but would you be interested in that?
Yes, that's fine with me.
Okay. So just with some notice, am I missing anybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chairman Sixto, one of the things we could do is leave it as a hybrid so that we can all meet in chambers, but if we should have a circumstance like you just ran into, that you always have that option to pop in on Zoom. So we can just keep it as an option.
Yes. You know me, I do want to have in person, more, But today was not an option. I just got out of the doctor's office with my prognosis or diagnosis. So that's why. So I think that the people that want to come can come, and the people that need to do Zoom can do Zoom. How about that? Is that a good workable idea for everybody?
It's agreed with me.
Wonderful. And we know Sharon, yes, and then Nikki maybe sometimes, and then, okay. Any more discussion on that? All right, conference attendance. In the past, Josh and Gary have always said, these are the Economic Development Commission or the AOC or the AOT or commission things, what would they be, functions that are coming up, and these are the ones you would be able to participate in. But that hasn't happened, and yes, we had COVID. So I just wanted to talk about, I guess we need to find out what the upcoming conferences are and then put it out there for each commissioner to attend. What do you guys think? Sharon?
In what capacity are you talking or envisioning?
Well, just as a representative, Sharon, you just went to the governor's, what was that?
I went to the Arizona Governor's Conference on Tourism.
Yeah, you went there. So things like that, Rennie, where, I don't know, is Josh still here? Because he used to say, okay, we have this, and this coming up this year. Who wants what? And then we just picked. I know everybody's going back to doing conferences. Everybody's, trying to get together and in person. So would that be something you guys would be interested in doing? And to answer your question, Rennie, so you show up as a representative of the city of Kingman and the EDAC Commission.
Okay, so what you're saying is I'm not going to be serving hot dogs.
Well, you can serve hot dogs, I think, if that's what you would want to do. I mean, just because mostly what I hear out and about in regular world, in the real world, is complaints about things that we do or don't do. I just think if we were more visible as to who we are. I know Nikki had suggested that we get some labels, name tags with EDAC under it, and Gary said we could talk about that, but I guess we didn't get it on here on the agenda. But just so people know who we are. I mean, they know who to complain to, but they also need to know that we show up and we're interested and that we care about, what they're doing or what is happening. What do you guys think?
I think people that complain too much, I would tell them to come and join in, become
That's
part
what
of
I
the
always
system.
say, and I never see them. I never see them join a committee or anything. So I don't know. I just wanted to put that on the agenda. Perhaps that Josh would, now that everybody's getting back, it doesn't have to be Josh, it can be his assistant that just makes an itinerary of 2022 on what conferences are available to us and just bring it to the next meeting, and then everybody pick what they want to go to. Does that sound like something we can do, Gary?
Yes, and I think that we certainly can do that, Chairman Sixta. The other thing would be, we would always tell you how many people, what we're limited to in the number of people. And some of that's driven by budget, some of it's just driven by how many people we can take. But
No,
yes,
no,
we can
it's
do
always only been one person
Right, usually it's
from the
just one, but I mean,
going.
if multiples wanting, so yes.
Yeah, all right.
And let's discuss name tags under announcements and put that one to bed if we can. That would be fine.
Okay, that'd be great. Anybody else? Okay, moving up forward. Okay, the EV Museum and the 66th, I was wondering why we weren't in on the planning of either of those. when we are the EDAC commission that, and we are supposed to recommend policy and advise to the council, that we didn't have even notification until all the planning was done. I was wondering.
I guess, Chairman Sixto, my question would be is, in the purchase, let's just cover the EV museum first. What do you feel your involvement should have been? I mean, currently, all we've done is purchase the building. What's coming up now is after the architect's been selected, there will be stakeholders. And so one of the things that we had certainly talked about would be, the architect has not been selected yet, but when that process is completed, that one of the commission members could be a stakeholder and be at those meetings for input and to bring it back to the commission.
Well, I don't believe I'm wrong, but I believe that the idea or the perception or the intention of this commission is to have a voice and recommend. So I believe that bringing to the commission the idea that it was being contemplated that, hey, we're thinking about buying the old DPS building and putting the EV center in there. What do you guys think? I mean, I thought that's what we did. We advise, but if nothing comes to us, then how do we advise? I mean, the first line on our responsibilities is the Economic Development and Marketing Commission shall advise and recommend policy to council. We haven't recommended anything to council for almost 2 years because nothing has come across to us. So I don't know how we can advise on something if we don't know about something. So even that and the 66 Fest, it may be that that's the way it is. It may be that you guys are doing your job and you don't think about us, but we are made up of a citizens committee and our opinions are valuable. And I just think we need to have a chair at the table where we say, wow, that's a great idea. Wow, how are we going to do this? We're supposed to be a part of it, but we're not a part of it. We're somebody that gets reported to when it's already done. And am I reading our responsibilities wrong, or what do you think?
Just a comment, this goes back to our involvement in local events, local meetings, should we perhaps appoint a couple members of the commission to attend city council meetings? So when things are being discussed in that space, we do have representation.
We cannot go to a council meeting and discuss without being on the agenda or being signed in as part of the agenda. We can't say anything. Our job has always been, and the 7 years I was on this committee prior, the thing that we did was if anybody, a citizen, a staff member, or another commissioner said, hey, I got a great idea. We want to think about doing this. What do you guys think? That's the level it was on. But that's gone. That's taken away. We don't do that anymore. And I'm kind of confused about what do we do? I mean, what is the action that this commission takes in a positive way? I know. I'll let you.
I think Chairman Sixto, certainly what has changed since commissions in the past is that maybe for the first time, the city over the last 3 years has had professional staff in place, meaning we have the Sylvias of the world, the Bennetts, we have the Joshes, and with staff to do a lot of this. So things that were maybe in front of the commissions before are simply handled internally now. But what I would be is I'd be happy to take back the commission's remarks and sit down with the city manager and make sure we discuss this so that it is clear, how he sees it and what we should be doing. So I would be absolutely happy to sit down with him and discuss that.
I think we had that meeting already, Gary.
Well, I know we did, but I thought that it was pretty clear what he had said to you, but
What did he say to me?
Well, that we really were the staff, and it's our job to carry out the work. So
then what is our job?
As an advisory committee. So you're right. I understand. I think from the standpoint of coming back and looking at advice, it's something that maybe we can do a better job of, Chairman Sixta.
That's appreciated, Gary. I agree. The reason I can't speak for the other commissioners, but the reason I'm on this is to be effective. I'm on this commission to be effective. And I feel that my voice has something to say, and my point of view needs to be heard, or I don't understand what I'm doing or not doing. I mean, this is an action commission. This is something that is done, but I feel like we don't do anything. Everything's done by you guys. And you might be right. I do remember, though, working very closely with the past city managers. And, you know, I don't want to hear any information that is going to put anybody in jeopardy or any situation. I'm not asking for that. I'm just saying, if we don't advise on something that's going through, then what do we do? And we're an advisory committee. That's what I'm asking. That's what I want. Is that clear as mud?
I understand, and let us work on that for you, Chairman Sixta, and by the next meeting have some clear guidelines for both of us then. So
I appreciate that. I feel
I
that.
tell you, in the EV museum, just as an example, you guys, things moved awfully fast. We've been trying for 2 years to think, could we even do the building? And then all of a sudden, you know, we made an offer because of the money that came through from the feds on the that had to be tourism related, period. And so we sat there and said, you know, we need to make an offer on this building. We did. And lo and behold, if we weren't successful, that offer was what they came back with on their appraisal. And so things moved, you know, rather quickly on that one. But I understand what you told me today. So.
Yeah, so what you're telling me is for 2 years, you guys were looking for another building, but we didn't know about that.
And we were only looking at it. We were considering, but it was way out of our price range. You know, it was when they first came up. But
I just think we should have been in on the planning a little bit, at least know about it. Would have been awesome. But I appreciate what you've said here today.
As a stakeholder on where we go forward. So.
I'm never, haven't been to this point. The stakeholder meetings that you've had, I've never been invited to, except for the very first one at the Hampton, which was about 2.5 years ago. Other than that, I hear about stakeholder meetings, but I've never been a part of one.
Well, this commission has not had a stakeholder meeting, I don't believe, on anything.
So I'm talking in generalities when you say stakeholder meeting.
Yeah, we did it with planning and zoning when they were going through to create the new regs. You know, those were pretty extensive. So
yeah,
the EV museum will be the same way. It'll be pretty extensive on the feedback. So.
Yeah, I don't know what year the building was built, but yeah. Okay, well, I appreciate you and your comments and your responses. And I respect them, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, number 5, announcements by commission members.
I have an announcement about the Kingman Young Professionals Group. We have shifted our efforts away from planning private events with the grant money we've received. We are now attempting to reinvest it back in the businesses in town. Our mission at Kingman Young Professionals is to assist incoming young professionals to form a connection to the community, which we found was not happening with how we were facilitating events. So like I said, we've kind of shifted gears. We are now hosting monthly events and classes based at local businesses. Our first event in that capacity will be at 66 Marketplace on December 1st. If you know anybody between 21 and 40 that would like to come decorate cookies, we are paying a portion essentially working as a scholarship for these events to keep them in the price range that everybody stated would be best for them, which is about $10 to $15. We then have scheduled out January, February, March, April. We have a self-defense class coming. We'll do a couple classes at Project Movement. Hopefully, we have a gardening class with Dig It Gardens, and then we're working on a couple fundraisers as well. I also wanted to ask, and you to keep this in mind, we're trying to build out a professional development series, which would consist of resume writing classes, cover letter updates, how to hire, how to fire classes, maybe things that aren't, that we're not receiving some of the mentorship on that we could use moving into the areas that we like. The date being thrown out right now would be the every third Thursday of the month. The Chamber of Commerce and MCC building has offered to host us there. Just for an hour, we're looking at either 5:30 to 6:30, 6 to 7. So if you have anybody that you would suggest would be a great speaker or a great educator or a great teacher for us, please email me. You all have my email. It's included in these. So, and we are also doing a monthly volunteer day with Friends of the Mojave County Animal Shelter. I had reached out to a couple of the food banks and also Cornerstone Mission. I know it's our busy season. I didn't get a response. So Friends of the Mojave County Animal Shelter is going to be our first nonprofit, with the first event to be this Saturday. So again, if you have any young professionals that you know between 21 and 40 that like to play with animals and want to get to know other people in the area and maybe just do some good during this time, that'll be Saturday at 10 a.m. And you can also find all of our events on our Kingman Young Professionals event page. And if anybody would like, I can send out our upcoming calendar of events that I've built out as well.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I guess I have another for announcements. Kingman Main Street is also hosting the holiday cookie craze. We're no longer doing a cookie crawl. That will be December 4th during the Street of Lights Parade. And Kingman Main Street, our mission is beautification and revitalization of downtown. So part of the proceeds will go towards the Jim Hinckley Walking Project, which is meant to take visitors through downtown and hopefully discover all the really great restaurants and shops that we have.
Anyone else? Thank you, Sharon.
You're very welcome.
This is for Deborah. I use my wife's computer
I see that.
and her picture's on there, but I'm gonna have it changed, but I'm not quite as good looking as she is. So thank you.
As well, on my picture is a picture that I used in a funeral a couple of weeks ago. I'm not understanding how that got on this site by any means, but I don't know who inserts the pictures, or do they just pull it from Google or something? Because I mean,
your past will always come back to haunt you. So, no matter what we
You
do.
would do it at your end.
balloons at church, always get me. All right, well, anybody else? Well, I appreciate the input from everybody. I appreciate you taking the time to show up. And if that's, oh wait, Gary, we were gonna talk about Nikki's suggestion that we have. Oh, you're as pretty as she is, right?
Okay.
There you go. About the name tags.
Why don't Chairman Sixta just consider it, it'll be done.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
We'll get that done.
Anybody else?
I
Anything?
have just a couple of announcements real quick.
Okay.
It started a couple of months ago, but I received an appointment from Governor Ducey to serve on the Rural Business Development Advisory Council. And so this will be a once-a-month meeting, and right now they're still doing it via Zoom. Thing I like about this is that, it'll allow us to get some information and things like that, or be a part of what happens down in at the Arizona Commerce Authority. As you
Cool.
all know, some of the big drivers are usually Maricopa, the state of Maricopa. So I'm really glad to be able to make that we have a rural voice. And so our first meeting will take place in December. It'll be a Zoom meeting. And just as way of announcement for the commission, I will be out of the office starting tomorrow. I have to leave back for Vermont. There has been a passing, a death in the family. And so it's something I was telling the staff. It's interesting. If you do not have the person who passed away buried by this weekend, you have to put them on ice, so to speak, and it doesn't happen until the spring. So there's some sense of urgency with the family there. So just, yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing when you live in cold country, huh? Yeah. So, with that, that's really all I have. So I will Lisa and I will get started on the name tags, and we'll go from there. And so I do want to encourage everybody with what Sharon asked about. You know, there's a lot of young people who could use the advice from us or our life experiences. So when they come around and ask for some of those help at some of those meetings, teaching them, you know, it's our opportunity to share with the young folks, and maybe we can save them a bump in the road or something like that. So I'm excited about hearing about that, and also the progress that entire group of young professionals has made. You know, doing some stuff now and putting back into the community is pretty nice. So thank you. That's all I have. Sure.
Anyone else? This meeting of the EDAC Advisory Commission on November 23rd is adjourned.
I second that.
Thank you, Ren.